Hey crafty cuties, I wanted to bring you along while I design my next journal collection. These will be journals that I am sending to my Patreon members, and I will probably have a few extras that I will have on my website towards the end of March, so be on the lookout for that if you're interested. And I just wanted to take a moment to give you a little peek at what I am going for as far as the theme for Patreon for March. And I am partnering with Pink Monarch Prints, and so I'm going to be making something like these file folders. I've showed them a few times now, but you can kind of get the idea of the colors and the vibe. And I'm so excited. I started playing around with some of the tags, so I have a few cut out here, but you can kind of see. And I think that this fabric goes along really nice. I think it's all gonna be so nicely paired together once I'm done. And real quick before we get started, I was actually inspired by a gift. Gabby sent this journal to me, and I loved the closure on this. So let me just show you real quick. She did this fun like layered doily situation with the closures attached, and so I totally got inspired by that, and I am thinking that for this month's journal I'm going to attempt something similar. It won't be exactly the same as hers, but I do have a bunch of laces and trims that I will use for the closure of this journal when we get to that point. But first we'll have to make the cover, and I think that's gonna go so well. In that journal that she gave me, she also made these really fun little fabric pockets, and at first I thought that this part right here was a tag, but it's actually in the center to be able, so that you have like two different sections and you have nice durability to your fabric pocket. So I am also in this video going to play around with some extra fabric and try to make some little matching floating fabric pockets like she did. So I just wanted to give her a shout out because I was inspired by her for the beginning of my ideas. So we'll save this for later and let's get started. I'm using some really pretty fabric I got from Joann's. And I have a bunch of these mailers. I'm gonna use a bunch of them up for like the base of my journal. I just try to use what I have, and this is what I've got. I'll show you what the size will be. I thought it would be kind of a fun, unique size once it's folded in half. So this will be the journal cover, and it ends up being about 6 1/4 by almost 8 inches. So I trimmed off a little bit. I didn't want it to be as tall as what these were, so I just trimmed off a little bit. And real quick before we start covering this, I was almost thinking I have this tissue paper I need to use up. If I put this in here, I'm wondering if it would give our journal some kind of a crinkly noise, because I like that idea. I don't know if it will work, but I think we're gonna try. Let's see here. It almost fits perfectly. In fact, I think it'll be fine to kind of just push it down there. Let's see. I think it's gonna give the crinkle. I don't know, like once I sew it up if it will, but we're gonna experiment and try it out. Okay, one more thing before we cover this with the fabric is this is all see-through. So we need to cover that, and I do just have some craft paper that I think should be good. Yeah, in fact, if I make this, actually, yeah, you know what, we'll do this side for the cover. Yeah, okay, that should work. Cover up at least all that it really needs to. So first we're gonna get started with my PVA glue. And I am just going to really add glue all over. I am going to end up sewing all of this together. So the glue is just gonna hold it in place for now. It doesn't go all the way across, but that's okay. In fact, just since this will be the front, I will actually line this up to the edge here on the front. And we'll go like that. And I'll just trim off the excess. Yeah, I can hear the crinkle, and I'm excited to see how that works. haven't decided quite yet what pages I'm going to put in here, but the pink monarch print did come with a journal page. I'll put this link below, or I'll put a link to this journal kit below, but I actually feel like these pages will look really pretty with the fabric, so I'll probably include a few of those along with just a variety of all of the other types of papers that I typically use. Okay, let me just make sure this front page is at least glued down as flat as it can be. Okay, this might seem kind of odd now, but just bear with me. Okay, and then just kind of trying to make sure I have it lined up where I want it. I think we can go ahead and get started by just gluing the fabric right down, and I'm just going to start with kind of one section at a time. And you know what? I forgot that last month someone said to use a card. I have to move quick because this glue dries quick, so for now I'm gonna use my finger, but using some kind of like a old expired business card, or not business, debit card or something, can help spread this glue out even better. Since I'm going to be making a bunch of these, I will do that. Okay. There's a pretty butterfly on this area, and so I'm gonna try to have the fabric over in that section more. Okay. Let's see if I can find something for that. Well, we'll look later. We'll just move on for now. I'm gonna spread this out a bit just to make certain that there's not going to be any weird bubbles or glue lines, even though I don't experience that with this glue, but some fabrics just are not as forgiving, so. Okay. And I do love that closure that we're gonna make is like removable, so that will be a pretty addition, but it can be removed as well. Okay, that should be all right. I will go ahead now and trim the fabric. At the corners, I'm going to trim it at an angle, and then just keep like half an inch around the sides where I need to trim it. And then just cut all of the corners at that angle. And then we'll wrap the excess fabric around. Since this fabric is really pretty, I'm gonna keep the strips as a scrap because I might end up using those as something. And then if you remember, the top of this was open. I'm not gonna worry about gluing it shut because we are sewing around the edges. Okay, get organized here. I'm gonna just start by adding glue around all of the sides, and then I will wrap the excess fabric around nice and tight. Just like that. And I'll continue that with the other 3 sides. And then I'll meet you at the sewing machine. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and sew all the way around the 4 edges, and whoops. And I'm gonna do a zigzag stitch. And we'll just go all the way around. And I am using a green thread. Just to kind of match with the fabric. while we're at the sewing machine, I thought I would go ahead and start figuring out how I want to make the fun closure. Now, hers had some really big doilies that wrapped around the spine. I don't have any, so I'll have to work with what I have. For this one, I think I might layer 2 doilies. And then I do have a lot of this lace, so I'm just gonna see how much I need here. And these will probably all be a little bit different, just because it's gonna take up a lot of fabric and lace. Okay, so I think I want to, for this one at least, that I'm going to use some of this really pretty sheer trim that I have. I think this will be big enough. I do wish I had more like sari ribbon. I think that would be really pretty. Okay, I don't have sari ribbon, but I think that I don't love this thick piece of lace because it's going to be hard to tie anyways. I think I'm going to use some strips of muslin, and I didn't have a really large strip, so first of all, I'm just going to sew a couple of ripped pieces of muslin together to have one long piece. 2 pieces, or 3 pieces of muslin. I'm just kind of messily sewing those together. Yeah, I like this much better. Okay, now I will layer on this green like that. And I don't think I'm going to sew these all together. I think I'm just going to layer them, but sew the doilies onto like that. Okay, so this is what I ended up doing. I have the 2 doilies, and then in the center is this strip of muslin and the sheer ribbon. But then on the back, I felt like it needed something a little bit more for like stability, and so I used this fat piece of crocheted lace. So basically I made a little sandwich. So I am just now placing this where it will end up getting tied. And I'll have to decide because I think that'll be good actually. So let me tie this shut. It's obviously going to look a little bit different when we have pages in it, which I'll probably show that to you in a different video, but let's see here. And then I wanted to finish it off with, I'm thinking about this little flower, something way different from my usual, well, wait, do I like that? Because I kind of like this little cluster. Yeah, I think I like this, but I also want to add like a little, I have these pressed flower charms, and I am thinking of adding one of those. So I'm going to hand sew these 2 pieces on, and then I'll show you what that looks like once I get that done, because I can't open this right now. Okay, I think I got this finalized. I want to see how it looks. So, like I said, we're not going to finish the journal right now. Just working on the cover and the pretty little closure. But I want to kind of get this looking pretty. And so I'm just using some scrapbook paper to cover the inside. I'm probably going to put some kind of pocket or something, especially because there are so many beautiful pages in this kit, all kinds of pockets and things. So I'll probably come back to decorating this, but for now, let's just add this just to cover the inside. Oh yeah, and I guess if I didn't say, I'm probably going to make that cute little fabric pocket in a separate video too, because this took a little longer than I was thinking it would, but totally worth it. And I feel like once I get the design or like the prototype down, then the next few won't take as long, because the idea and experimenting is really what takes the longest. Okay. There we go. And it does end up sounding kind of crinkly. All right. So I hope you can kind of hear that in person. You can definitely hear the texture. Now, I don't know if I added like maybe 2 of the tissue paper, maybe it would be more, but either way, we're just experimenting here. So I'll try maybe 2 pieces on the next one just to see. So I made a change after I thought I was done filming the video. So I have to show you. I ended up finding a larger doily. This is probably 8 inches in diameter, and I just love it so much more. So I took the same exact, the last time you saw this was the 2 doilies stacked, and I took it exactly like it was, and I just sewed that, sandwich it onto the larger doily, and I just love it so much more. So I don't know if the others will be able to look like this because I think I only have 2 of these larger doilies, but you know, if you're trying to recreate this, you could kind of use the same idea with whatever you have. I think a hanky could be fun to experiment with. And yeah, I just really like how that looks. So I had to come on and show you what is at least the final for this first journal and this video. So I am going to leave it here, and yeah, stay tuned if you want to see me add pages to this, or at least I'll show the final journal when I'm done. And I wanted to create the little fabric tag pockets. So I'll see you soon, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye, guys.